Hey, it's Pastor Luke Hughes, and I wanted to cover another question today. The question I want to look at today is, why does God choose to use faith? Why doesn't God just show up for us or let us hear His voice? And you may even have some frustrations in your spiritual life that you are like, man, if God would just show up or just let me hear His voice, it would fix all these problems. And what's interesting is this question is very close to the heart and the mission of God. In Hebrews it says, faith is the confidence of things hoped for, the assurance of those things we cannot see. And it introduces to us this world that is unseen. And I think most of us can understand an unseen world. Imagine for a second that you were deaf. The world of sound would be impenetrable to you. You wouldn't be able to understand my words right now. You wouldn't be able to grasp the beauty and the artistry of music. And what's crazy about that is we could, through sign language, explain to you what sound was and explain to you what music was, but you wouldn't be able to experience it on your own. You may even be able to get into a context where if the sound was loud enough, you would experience and feel the vibrations of the bass or feel the vibrations of the sound waves, but you wouldn't be able to translate that information as sound. See, the scriptures describe the eternal things of God, the unseen world that made the seen world, as being deaf and blinded to us because of some of the selfish decisions and evil decisions we've made in our life. That we've severed ourselves from God. Now what's crazy is that the scriptures also say that we were wired for that world, that we were created to be a part and contribute to that world. But now that we have been severed from it and made that selfish choice, that if God was to come exploding into our scene, so much of what we are is decrepit, and so much of what we are has been broken down, that God would short circuit us by His magnitude and by His goodness and by His love. And so faith is the way God begins to step back in to our lives in a relatable way that doesn't ultimately short circuit us, but brings us back to life. Faith is the organ by which we begin to hear God again, see God again, see the work that He does, and choose voluntarily as opposed to being forced to step into that world and that work with Him. The beauty of faith is you begin to unpack what really matters in your life. You begin to see and to hope and to live as God would have you live and experience all the potential He has for your life. And the beauty of that is there are concrete ways we can unpack that weekly and daily and hourly. And we're going to discuss more of that tomorrow.